Hi, I am Moshood Lawal. What we want to talk about is backend development. In the backend development, we have some programming languages that we use to develop software, such as, for the purpose of this class, we are going to be looking at PHP, MySQL, Jquery, Node, Express, MongoDB, and so on and so forth. But today we are going to start with PHP. What are the tools that we need? In this case, you will need a text editor such as Visual Studio Code, Notepad++, Atom, Bracket, or anyone you know. But as of me, I would advise, or I will like, you use Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code has been doing well and fine these days. It has some plugins and extensions that you can add, and it is a great tool. Okay, so now PHP is a back-end programming language which runs on the server and display the output in a plain text. So because it runs on the server, we are going to need the following tools. I've mentioned VS Code. So you either need WAMP server, XAMPP, MAMP, LAMP, or Laragon, depending on the machine you are using. But as of me, I want to show you how to install one of these tools, which is what? WAMP. WAMP simply means Windows Apache MySQL PHP. So on your Windows, you can either use WAMP or XAMPP. If you are using Mac operating system, you use MAMP. If you are using Linux, you use LAMP. But I think XAMPP can work in any environment depending on your machine. You can just try out that as well. Then Laragon. Okay, so you are going to need all these things, and I'm going to need your attention for this class. Alright, so let's look at WAMP. If you want to download WAMP, you can open up your browser and just type WAMP server download. This will show series of websites, but if you look at this sourceforge.net, that's the place where it will be good you download your WAMP server. So I click on this, then it takes me to where I can download WAMP server. You can see. So what you do is you click on download, then it downloads into your download folder on your system. Okay, so if you download this, then you want to install. So now how do you install WAMP server on your system? This is it. When you click on this, it opens, and there is something I want to talk about WAMP server, because many people usually have problem installing it. And why? Because if your operating system has missing DLL, you may find it difficult to install WAMP server. But if you follow the steps of what I want to explain to you, you won't have any problem at all. So here we select English. Then you accept the license. You can read through this and accept the license. Now, installation of WAMP server. You need to read through this before you install. The reason why is that to install, before proceeding with the installation of web server, you must ensure that certain elements are installed on your system. Otherwise, web server will absolutely not run. And in addition, the installation will be faulty and need to be removed before you can reinstall again. What do you need? You need Microsoft Visual Studio Redistributable Package. You need the following for VC9, VC10, VC11, VC13, VC15, and VS16. How do you know whether you have all these things already? Because if your Windows you have been updating, or probably you have installed some application or tools before, and by one way or the other you have installed all these packages, you can check by coming down here. You run a check on your machine. This is it. If you click on this, you download a check. So while you are running the check, you can as well go back there, open the place where you download all those missing packages, if at all you miss anyone. So I'm downloading it now, downloading the check. So I'll click on this site too, where I can download all the packages in case I have any missing one. So it is downloading. So here it is. These are the web server files and add-ons. So here you scroll down and then you see a lot of things. You can see a lot of updates that you can add. If you, let's say for instance, you want to add PHP 8 to your web server. Currently, I think what you should be having is PHP 7. You can click on the update and add it into your web server. Then you have a latest. If you want to update your MySQL, you can download it and add it to your web server. You have the latest download. Now, these are the Microsoft packages, distributable package. But here, we won't be downloading all this one by one. In case you come here, the last one here, all VC distributable packages, you download it for both 32-bit and 64-bit. So once you click on this, it downloads everything for you. Okay, so now let us confirm if that one that we are installing, that one is done, the check. So we'll come here, programs, you should see this is it, check VC Redis. That is, you check redistributing package of your system. So when you run it, it's going to check on your system if there's any missing redistributable package. So I'm running it. It's asking me, is it English? Yes. Now it's asking me whether I'm going to be using PHP version of 5.3 and these are old PHP versions. So no, I am not adding them. So I'm ready to check. I check. So you can see here I have some missing packages. Here I have Visual Studio C++ 2013 32-bit. That's this x64 is 32. I mean 886. It means it's a 32-bit version. So if this is what I am missing, when I am done downloading, I will see this directly inside the file I downloaded, and then I will install it. So let me confirm my download is still ongoing, but spending the time we are waiting for that, you can go on into their website the other time. You can go there and see that particular packages that you are missing. 2013 S86. Let's see. This is 2013 S64. Let me confirm that again. Okay, S86. So this may be as a result of that. By the time I install, okay, this is it. So I can just download this separately and run to install. But because I'm going to wait until I am done because I'm downloading everything. So I'll just wait for it to finish, and then I will. So this is how you run the installation. So once you are done, you can now continue. When you install all those things that you're seeing here, when everything is done, you can save this so that you open it in a notepad and continue installing, picking them one by one and install. You can see I have like 1, 2, 3, 4 packages, and I'll click on save to save it and open it in a notepad so that I can be comparing it and installing it. So I think that one is done as well. So if I should go to rest there, I should see all. This is it, all redistributable package, and then I extract all. So there we are. We have all the packages now. Then we can now install them. So once we are done, you can close the check, cancel, and then you go back there again and rerun the check one more time. When you are done, this guy will tell you that you are perfectly okay. So this is where we are going to we are done with our installation. Now what next after this? The next thing is for you to start your WAMP server. Please note that it is not only WAMP server you can use. Like I told you the other time, you can as well use XAMPP. If you are using Windows operating system, I'm starting my WAMP server now. So I click on this. So I click on this. It's starting my WAMP server. Remember, you have about 3 things inside this, even more than that. So now, when you start it initially, this icon, you can see I open it through my taskbar here. You will see this icon to be red, orange. Later it will turn to yellow, and then it will become green. Well, everything happens so fast because I have all the packages installed and there's nothing to delay it. So when you click, you see the tray WAMP server is already installed. You see you have PHP MyAdmin, you have PHP, you have MySQL, you have MariaDB and others that you can use to manage your server. Okay, so it is started. That's why it is showing. You can see it's showing all services are running. Okay, so once I have done this, if I go on into my browser now and type localhost, then it opens WAMP server for me and give me the information about my server. Remember, WAMP server is a server simulator because PHP, like I told you the other time, runs on the server and bring out the results in a plain text. So if a client tries to access your application, the server will the client send a request and server return a response. But because we cannot have we cannot say, okay, we want to have server separately now and have client separately. We want to use a single machine to perform everything, work as server and client, and that's why we are installing WAMP server on our machine. So fine, our server is working. Okay, so how do you create a project? That's the next thing. To create a project, if you go to your folder explorer here, you go to local disk C, you will see WAMP. It's either you see this as WAMP 64, depending on what you do when you are installing. It usually bring it as WAMP 64. I remove the 64 and make it create only WAMP folder for me. So when you open this, then you will see www folder. Inside this www folder is where you will go into whenever you type localhost on your browser like this. The browser is looking into where www folder. See, these are projects. If I show you through my web server, you will see that those projects are showing right there. Show you. You can see those projects are showing right there. Alright. So which means for you to start a project, you need to create a folder for that project here. For instance, if I should come here, say new folder, and I call the folder my app, press enter. Then if I should come here now and refresh, you can see my app is not showing right now, but by the time I refresh this, I can see what my app showing as my project right now. So how do I now access my project? You have a project now, you go to /my app right here, local /my app, then it opens into your project folder. But because in any folder, if your server is looking for index page to open your project, but because I don't have index page, it opens it as a directory. So how do you go about that? If you create any file and rename it to be index, either index.html or index.php, it is going to open as a web page. How do I do this? If I open my Visual Studio Code here, right click, and then I will go to open with code. So once your Visual Studio Code opens, it's going to open and switch into my app folder. So you can see now here. So here I can click on this, which is what? New file. So you click on new file, it's asking you what type of file you want to create. I'll type index.php and press enter. This will create index.php for me. Once it creates that, then I can now type my PHP or my SQL, my PHP or my HTML inside here. If I type, for instance, HTML :5 and press enter, yeah, my Visual Studio is still loading. That is why it's not showing anything right now. I think it's done now. So if I type HTML :5 now, I get HTML for it. Okay, so here inside my body I can say h1. These are one of the reasons why we want to use this and say hello world. Okay, hello world, and then save. By the time you come back to your browser now and refresh, you get your website up and running. So we have set up our server. Now let us move on to PHP. PHP can coexist with your HTML, or you can write your PHP separately from HTML, but it can coexist with other programming languages like JavaScript, HTML, Jquery, and all that. Okay, so it's just that just as we open HTML and close, the same way you open your PHP. So let's say I want to type PHP tags up here, I can put it in between my code right here. It doesn't matter. So I'll open it by putting less than question mark and then PHP. This is like you open PHP down. Then how do you close it? Question mark greater down. So whatever you type in between these, they are what? They must be PHP codes. So how do we go about that? If I say echo, and then you put a string welcome, then you terminate. That's the rule in PHP. You terminate every statement. If I save this Okay, echo welcome. If I save this and reload my page, I'm seeing welcome from PHP. This is a plain text, while this one is from HTML that is styled. Okay, so you can as well style something inside PHP. Let's say for instance I copy this now. Let me cut it and bring it into these codes. Replace it with welcome. What will happen is this: when you send echo this, when it gets into the browser will recognize the h1 as HTML tag and apply the format. So if we save now and go ahead and refresh our page, then we get our echo, our hello world coming directly from PHP. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is how do you now create a variable, and what a variable is. A variable is a placeholder. Just see it as something like a container where you can store things and use it anywhere in your application. So how do we create a variable in PHP? You use the $sign and then you specify your variable name. So your variable name must start with letter. You can use any name, anything you like as your name, but don't start with number. It will start with letter or underscore. You can use underscore to start, but it is only number you must not start with. So this is my variable name now is what? First name. Now what do I want to store? Because I said it's like a container. What do you want to store inside your container? You want to store what? If you don't want to use double quote like this, you can use just single quote. Maybe I'm storing what? Johnson inside here, and then don't forget to terminate. Now here that we say echo hello world, I can say okay, echo world hello variable first name. Save this. You can see I'm bringing in my variable directly inside here because we are inside PHP. Then you reload, you get hello Johnson. So that is all about PHP variable. We're going to be discussing this in our next class. Thank you.